Back on SportsLine tonight, talking about Titans OTAs, which began today over at St. Thomas Sports Park. They're back at it again tomorrow as well. Phone lines are open, 737-7767, if you'd like to get in on the program tonight. But first, let's hear from head coach Ken Wisenhunt, who put his guys through the gauntlet today. Hot temperatures, humid temperatures, not a lot of wind out there, so not a lot of relief from these guys who just had a 4-day holiday weekend like most of the rest of the world, excluding television sports anchors. But those guys out there today in that heat and going hard at it. Wisenhunt put them on different fields. They scrimmaged a lot of the time, or at least, went live with plays a lot of the time. And there wasn't a lot of standing around. It was rep after rep after rep after today to get these guys used to what they're trying to put in. Here's Ken Wisenhunt after practice today.
It's nice to practice and not have a 30-mile-an-hour wind today.
Yeah.
Good for a change. Why's that?
A little heat.
Yeah, you're right. It was a little warm out there. That's okay. We got to play in it, right?
How do the dynamics change at practice when you've got the vets and the rookies all together?
It's a lot more guys. You're trying to get reps for all of them so you can get a sense of where they are. But the tempo was good today. I think we had a pretty good set as far as mixing the reps, so we got a chance to look at everybody and put them in different situations.
What was your assessment of Jake and his first day back running the offense?
Well, Jake's always has been doing things already with us. We've had phase 2, and he's been out here working, so he progressed. I was happy to see him out there.
I guess he said today was really the first time he's done team drills. That's a pretty positive step. A little bit ahead of schedule at all for him?
With rehabs, you can always say what the schedule is going to be, but it depends on when they're healthy. It's a credit to Jake for working hard, but obviously it was good to get him out there going through the team. I mean, that was an important piece of it. But it's just the first day, so we got to continue to see how that progresses.
Are you finding out more about him yourself? This is the first go-around with him for you. I mean, did you see something or hear something or discover something about him you like more each day or each week?
Yeah, I do. I'd say that's fair, Jim. I think I respect the way that he's come in here and worked. The way he handled. I think a good assessment the first day is how they handle the terminology going into the huddle, and he did a nice job with that. I mean, we've been working at it for a couple of weeks now, but just the way he's been studying, the way he's been working at it, I really like that. So, I mean, there's no substitute for getting to work on the field. And even seeing some of the drills today, you're seeing him make progress, some of his footwork, some of his progressions. So, I'm excited about that. We just got to keep, and you know from being around Jake that he's going to continue to push it. So that's a positive.
Justin looked like he was fighting some balls even early. Where do you rate him right now? And is that an issue?
Well, I have high expectations for Justin. I liked him coming out, and he made some plays last year. So we're going to count on him to do some things for us this year. I don't buy too much into one practice, but I see talent in him. He's working hard, so we need him to be a good player for us.
How has Michael Orr and Michael Roos, some of those guys handled the new guy coming into the, position room? How do you expect them to? How did you expect them to handle that when you brought Lawan in?
I don't think it really affected them, either one of them. They've been in the league for a number of years. They've both played at high levels. That's what this league's all about. I mean, it's about competition. So they've been very good pros. They've worked hard, done everything we've asked of them, and I'm excited about both of those guys.
Is there a ratio of how much work you give Taylor at left as opposed to trying him at right also?
We got a rotation that we'll follow with putting him in there, so he'll get some reps at all of those things.
What percentage of the offense do you have installed now, and how much more to come?
Well, if you just think about it this way, we don't have red zone in, we don't have 2-minute, we don't have short yardage and goal line, so we've still got a lot to put in, and we've still got a lot to go through. I mean, today was just a small piece of it. We didn't even do third downs today, so it's a short period of time, and we got a lot to get in, but guys are working hard, and that's really good.
When you switch from the 4-3 that's been run here for years to a 3-4 base and hybrid, what's the most difficult part of trying to figure out where all the pieces fit?
Well, you just got to play. We've got some guys that have been working hard, and they look good executing it today. So I just like anything, you need more reps of it. The communication is important, and they did a nice job with that today.
How are the rookies so far blended in with the vets?
You know, that's always an interesting thing. The first week we kept them separate. They were kind of doing their own program, and I think that's good because it gives them a chance to feel comfortable with the weight program, the classroom, and then last week having a phase 2 where they were able to go into the classroom with them, work out with them, and then do some field work. It made the transition easy today. You know, and I think our veterans have done a good job of accepting them and helping them. You could see that on the field today. You know, if you're going to have success as a team, you've got to have that type of chemistry. And, you know, I give credit to a lot of our veteran guys because they have that. They have that type of leadership, and that's important.
And now that you get to see the rookies and vets together, how are you liking the chemistry within this group?
Well, I mean, we got a long way to go. You can't just snap your fingers and all of a sudden you have chemistry. That's something that you get. We haven't even gone through the hot days of summer when you're banged up and sore. That's where you really find out about your team. So, I mean, this is easy. You know, we're out here for just a little while running some reps, but I like the way they work. That's an important piece of it. And you can see them working well together. And that's what we've got to do. You know, 4 weeks, over the next 4 weeks, we got to get a lot done.
How do you think Locker has handled the fact that you all drafted a quarterback, or the new quarterback in the room?
You know, I've only been around Jake a short time, but my sense is that doesn't affect him. He's a confident young man. He's working hard. I think one of the things that I like about him is he's been able to block all the outside noise out and just play. And from what I've seen, he's interested in trying to get better, and that's what you like out of that position.
Do you have an expectation on whether offense or defense will be able to grasp more of the installation or handle more between now and the end of the move?
Well, I think that, you know, defensively, we've got there's more veterans interspersed through the defense, so probably from the standpoint of communicating on the field and handling that, you know, defense always seems to get a head start, and I wouldn't expect that to be different, but we had good competition today, so hopefully the offense will be able to pick it up and make it a good battle.
Anything else? Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Good to see you.
Head coach Ken Wisenhunt today after practice talking about the tempo that they had, Jake Locker being out there, and that is really one of the key things here. And I know there's a wide variety of opinions when it comes to Jake Locker as the Titans quarterback, and people who either believe he can be the guy, people who believe he definitely can't be the guy, people who just want to see him stay healthy. I think all of those things are very fair thoughts to have about Jake Locker, but one thing you can't dispute about him is the fact that he works his butt off and he tries to lead and do it as much as possible by example. Locker suffered a Liz Frank injury last fall, as everybody knows, in the November game against the Jaguars, had surgery a couple weeks later. That's an injury at times can be up to a year recovery. And certainly people thought when he had surgery, best case scenario, he might be able to start doing a little bit of throwing this time of year, maybe do some more stuff when it comes to the mini camp later on, but he might be very limited up until training camp started. And Locker sort of said all along, I'm going to try to beat expectations. I'm going to try to exceed expectations to get on the field before that, because we got a new coaching staff, we've got a new offense, and I've got to prove myself. I've got to prove myself to my teammates. I've got to prove myself to new coaches. I need to be a leader out there. That's my goal. And what does Jake Locker do? That. He goes and works his butt off every day in rehab to get out there sooner than people expected. And he was out there today, full participant, able to go through all of the team sessions. He didn't have to worry about any sort of restrictions in what he was doing. And that's huge, because now that's 10 days of snaps behind the center. 10 days of the opportunity to be in that huddle and lead the guys out there. And when you talk to guys in that locker room today, they all pointed to that, how huge that was, and how impressed, although not surprised, that that's what Jake Locker was doing. Nobody counted him out to be out there. But yet, that's what most people wouldn't be. Most people wouldn't be able to come back and be out there and be effective and be a leader right now. But Locker has gotten himself to that point. That's not to say he's going to be a star. That's not to say that things are going to go great for the Titans next year. It's just to say that one thing you can't dispute is how hard Jake Locker works and how much respect he has earned from the other guys in that locker room for how hard he works, for the way he leads by example, and for the type of a team guy he is. And I think that's a big key because he was out there today. Not to be oversold. Let's go to Philip tonight. Philip, what's going on?
Yeah, he's on the practice field. Here's my question for you, and we'll rehash this come, I don't know, about November. Over under mid-season, is Jake Locker injured or not? Tape is rolling. Your perspective. Will Jake Locker make it through the halfway point of the season without being injured and missing football?
Well, Philip, I think the answer to that question and to your point is that until you see it, it's hard to say he will be past that point. So I think the body of work to this point makes you real concerned about an injury with Jake Locker, and he understands that, and the coaching staff understands that. I mean, at some point, you work hard and you hope that the cards fall your favor and he's healthy at some point. But again, to your point, I think the track record at this point is that he unfortunately has a history that he's going to be injured at some point.
That's not good. That's all. That's just not good. And that's why they should have drafted Johnny Football, I think. We'll see in November.
Yeah. Philip, we appreciate the call and the question tonight. Hey, I think that's a fair concern, and that will be the first thing that anyone of the Titans, including Jake Locker, will tell you. And when I sat down Russ and Webster right before the NFL draft, I said, in a sequence of questions, I said, how confident are you that Jake Locker can be healthy? And he said very confident that he can come back from this injury, be back, and get enough offseason to be a valuable member here. And obviously that's already played out to be the case. I said, how confident are you that he can stay healthy? And he said, that's a valid concern. And Jake would be the first one to tell you that he's got to do it. And we got to come up with a way that he can protect himself a little bit more. That he can still be the same quarterback with the arm and the ability to run and stretch a defense with his legs, but not put himself in harm's way. That's got to be a little bit on the coaches, but it's got to be a lot on Jake, too, and being smart. And he said, and that's real valid. And I said, how much does his health determine whether he can be the quarterback of the future of this franchise? And Webster said a lot. Because if Jake Locker's healthy, they believe he can be a really good NFL quarterback. The type of quarterback that can win them football games and help them get to the playoffs and win in the playoffs. And they point to that first month of the season last year when the Titans were 3-1, probably should have been 4-0. And Jake Locker played really well. But that's a really small sample, and they'll admit that they need bigger samples of that. They need a season out of him. They need multiple seasons out of him. And if he can't give them that health and in turn that production this fall, it's going to be Jake Locker's last year. And the Titans understand that, and Jake Locker certainly understands that. So there's definitely pressure on the line here. But he's doing everything possible to get himself healthy, give himself that foundation that then hopefully when the fall starts, maybe you get a break. Maybe that's it. Maybe fortunes turn. But he's doing everything possible to put himself in a position now to be successful. Let's go to Mike. Mike, thanks for the call.
Hey, I got a question to ask you. If Jake Locker stays good and healthy and we do make it to the playoffs, do you think that he could maybe have a chance to play in the Pro Bowl and really just take it to a new level for the Titans? Or if we do have to lose him, do you think maybe Jeff Fisher might pick him up and maybe be a Ram quarterback? And I'll hang up and thanks for your time.
Yeah, Mike, interesting questions there. I think the Titans believe, if healthy, Jake Locker can be a really good quarterback. And in the right system, when you win games, that potentially could mean you get a trip to Hawaii for the Pro Bowl. But I think the most important thing for them is what we've been talking about. Just stay on the field. If he can be the quarterback that he was early in the year last year, where he was a solid percentage passer that didn't turn the ball over. He was 8 touchdowns, no interceptions through those first 4 games. And gives you that dimension with his legs that you have to look out for, both in an occasional called play, but probably most importantly, when the pocket breaks down, that he can take off and go. If he can be that guy and stay healthy, that's what the Titans are looking for. And if he does that, you're not going to worry about him leaving next year, because he will prove the worth and he will get a next contract. If that doesn't happen and he is moving on, I don't know about Jeff Fisher, because remember, Jeff Fisher wasn't here when Jake Locker got drafted. So he wasn't in any of the evaluations or the talking process about who these guys are or who they should get in that draft. So that would have to be an independent evaluation of Jeff Fisher and Les Snead in St. Louis. And I don't know if they would independently evaluate him as a guy that they want in that regard. They've got another quarterback in their own right, in Sam Bradford, who's in a similar year this year. They believe in him to the fullest, but he's coming off an ACL tear. Can he get back healthy? Can he stay healthy? And can they put enough guys around him to allow him to be successful and lead the Rams to wins in what is the toughest division in football right now, the NFC West? We got to take a break. When we come back, we will hear from Jake Locker, plus more of your phone calls. 737-7767 is the number. Stay with us. You're watching SportsLine on News Channel 5+.